Looking at the structure, the monster released a terrifying roar, and for a moment the city block went silent as every person froze in confusion at what the source could be. That silence only lasted a moment before screams of terror and panic filled the air as people began to stampede as quickly as they could from the monster that had appeared. From within the crowd, however, instead of running, several figures pushed forward, drawing the weapons from their sides and preparing the incantations of magical spells. The monster, in a single swing with its tendril, slams three people away from it, sending them flying several feet before crashing painfully to the ground. Gregor moved for the monster, only to be stopped by Jonah's hand, who explained if they tried to fight the monster, it could probably kill them with a single blow. To which Gregor responded that he wasn't going to fight the monster, but he could at least help the injured. As in that moment, another whip from the tremendous tendrils threw another three figures from the creature's side before it recoiled slightly at an impact of a barrage of magic attacks upon it. Gwelwyn, Jonah, and Leaf added their own magic into the fray of spells being slung for the monster, while Ammo joined Gregor in running to the injured who had been slammed away from the creature and began pulling them to safety alongside other smaller, apparently less experienced adventurers without access to offensive magic or training in ranged weaponry. For the first time, Gwelwyn revealed his own magical ability, causing frost to appear on the monster's outer flesh. Again, another whipping tendril threw another three warriors from their feet from the creature, and it pressed itself forward for the waiting building. Glancing up, Ammo noticed a glisten of metal armor, a man who had been riding a Pegasus for one of the upper tiers of the city, who had seen the commotion in the street so far below, and who had dismounted his steed, began to fall for the rampaging monster. The falling figure began to glisten as he fell, getting into range where he could be heard by the collection of spellcasters, and he yelled to them as they bombarded his target, "Casters, catch me!" In that same moment, Jonah drew a card from his hand, which began to thrum with force energy that he threw into a chaos bolt that slammed powerfully into the creature before he had to direct the excess energy away, upward, where it dispersed just in front of the falling figure, who in that moment was caught by a featherfall spell. Sword bursting into fire, the falling figure vanished from the spot in the air his fall was slowed, and reappeared on the ground with his weapon, following through from an attack he had made unseen for its speed. The monster's eyes widened in pain and surprise before it erupted into a short-lived column of fire before falling to the ground as only the burnt husk that remained from the attack. The civilians who were panicking had slowed and become a crowd watching the many adventurers at work, fighting the behemoth monster, and seeing its collapse from the single blow by the knight who fell from the sky, they erupted into cheers and stampeded forward to relay their praises and gratitude for the work of the heroes, with focus on the man who dealt the killing blow. After a few moments, the man's Pegasus landed with a Vulpine carrying a large backpack still riding it, and exchanging words that have her glaring at him and him laughing. He remounted, and they took once more to the sky, heading for the place they were on their way to when they had noticed the commotion. Ammo, Gregor, and Jonah went into helping move the injured out of the way of foot traffic and to a place where they could be medically tended to, and Leaf investigated the body. In which time Ammo had seen in the crowd of cheering people two figures looking on to the scene with serious gleams in their eyes, glaring at the scene, two figures that vanished into the crowd when he turned to ask Jonah if they were suspicious, before Jonah could even see them. In the time they were helping with the wounded, a man from the Storm Crows approached the group, thanking them for their help, and Ammo brought up that they had come to give news about the group the Storm Crows had sent on the mission to Golland, and their demise. To which the man brought them into the guild hall and to the guild leader, who gave a reward for the information, however unsavory the idea of giving someone money for information of a person's death. Exiting the Stormcrow's guild hall, Leaf and Gwelowin noticed a figure get shooed away from the charred carcass after having scraped a portion into a medium-sized bag. But looking to each other to ask if they should investigate the person, they lost the humanoid crow in the crowd in the same way Ammo had lost the masked girl and tall, slender man. They returned to the Ivory Shield, and each went about small tasks to occupy their day, and learned of a reduced rate Astral would provide them lodging for in the Ivory Shield's rooms, as each found room and board for the evening. Morning came, and Jonah waited outside the rooms with news that reports had reached him that the hero from the day before, one from the upper guilds, had been killed in the night. And as Ammo went to leave to do some things in the city he was looking to do, guards entered the building with reports of a drunken man being found dead near the tavern, and them needing some information for the investigation they were beginning into the matter.